Hey, what's up, guys? It is Rapmark here. With this, I am finally getting my Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City review up. It has been a while. Not in theaters really anymore, unless it's like the dollar theaters. It's been late. If you've all followed the Epic Saga, holidays, new job. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff going on. So, anyway, we're going to go ahead and do this. And move on from there. So, what did I think of this thing? Um, it was about where I thought it was going to be. It was not great. I honestly thought most of the people were miscast. To be for reals, I hated the fact that Leon not only looked more like Carlos, but they made him into an idiot. It's just like I don't want to see the future of this. If this is Leon now, like how the hell is he gonna look in freaking Resident Evil 4? So yeah, I did not like a lot of the casting choices. The exception being probably Chris. He looked very similar to how I would imagine him looking. Very young. Um, very big, strong. So he was probably the bright side of that in terms of casting. I was not a fan of. I don't know. I didn't mind the sheriff. I mean, they kind of changed his role from the video games, but I mean that's fine. We'll get into that later. But I thought he was all right. Um, let's see, Claire. I don't know. I wanted to like Claire. It just didn't seem it seemed wrong, and I'm just really pissed about Leon. They screwed over Leon. And so Jill Valentine, I didn't feel was right. Albert Wesker, I think had the look, but didn't have the charisma that you would figure from Wesker from the video games. So I don't know. Just casting was not great. They made some interesting casting choices, and I don't think it worked out. In terms of like the problem was is so essentially they tried to put the first and the second game together and have them run side by side, and that was a problem because you have so much going on and so much lead up that by the time something already happens, you're like in the third act of this movie. And then the third act just seems insanely rushed, which I was not a fan of. Yeah, the pacing of this movie was just way too slow for anything to happen, and then just everything happens the third act. It was kind of ridiculous. Um, yeah, that they should have just focused on one or two and then moved on. But yeah, they try to get both of them in there, and it was a little bit distracting. And you're kind of just like, what? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was sitting in there, and the first 15 minutes I thought was great. Like the opening scene, which I'll get into in spoilers, I was just like, you know what, this could be better than I thought. I'm enjoying myself. I'm not hating it. And then as the movie goes on, it's just like an hour and 5 minutes later, just like, what is it? Are we just barely now starting with the outbreak? Yeah, it was the pacing and the performances of the actors was kind of wooden. I'd blame that on the writing. Like the performances just didn't seem overly great. So let's see pacing. Let's see the monsters. Did I like the monsters? There was some really bad CGI. I'm not gonna lie. Like on the whole, I am not a fan of overusing CGI, as you are well aware by my many reviews at this point. CGI is just like something to do to perfect, correct, or do something you otherwise couldn't do. Um, but man, there was some really bad CGI, including like blood spurts, monsters not looking like the way they should. It was something else. And the sad thing is this movie was closer to the video game than the Anderson ones, which I do give them credit for that, but they also changed a few things, which I was kind of interesting. So you have Claire and Rhett, they had a okay, that I should save for spoilers. I'm sorry. But yeah, just the interaction of characters was it didn't seem fluid or organic, and it was unfortunate. Again, they do have good moments in there. Like we'll go into those in spoilers, but the problem is the film distracts you from those good moments. It's just terrible acting, terrible casting, terrible writing, and terrible CGI. It just robs all of the good things that were in there. And there were some good things, but it was like moments of good things. Like I will say that the last monster in here, the CGI was bad, and but I like the design of it. The design I thought was pretty cool. There was no tension. Like there were a few jump scares, and I do jump at jump scares. I'm not this I am big blah blah. I will not jump at anything raw. No, I will jump at a lot of things, and this just didn't feel like there was any tension. There were points of tension that were just almost comical to downright cringeworthy when it came down to it, and it was just not good. I was like looking at the trailers to this. I went in there with really low expectations because the trailers showed straight up how bad the CGI was going to be. But man, I was not expecting it to be as low as this. This was unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, like, is there anything I liked about this? No, like I really don't want to see this franchise continued because of all the things, especially with frickin' Leon. They straight up did him dirty, and that sucks. And I don't like how there's so many like points that sort of like start to develop, and then they just end up in the nether. Like Lisa Trevor, if you know the video games, you know who that is. In this, she exists, and then she just appears, and then it's just like whatever, and it's just like okay, so that happened. That was a thing. Just really unfortunate. So yeah, I think we're gonna go into just scoring for this. I'm sorry, I gotta give this one a 3. Yeah, we're going to keep this review a little bit shorter. Again, this is super late. It's already out of theaters, but I just wanted to air my thoughts about it because I was ready to do it, but then I kept getting sick, and then the holidays hit, and it was just like, it was a little bit crazy. So, what am I giving this one? A 3 out of 10. This is a solid 3. Again, the casting was off, the writing was bad, the performances were flat, the CGI was terrible. There were a few good moments, but again, it was dragged down by everything else. And just the pacing, like the fact that everything came together in that third act. And you're waiting for that third act because nothing's really happening. You're just getting a whole lot of explaining, essentially, which is not what I went to go see. So that's my thoughts, unspoilered thoughts on Resident Evil. So I will see you on the spoiler section. So y'all have a good one, and I'll see you then. See ya. Hey, what's up, guys? It is a Rapmark here. So, spoiler section. So, the part where I enjoyed the most was actually the very beginning. It goes into this orphanage where Chris and Claire are living there, and that's also where you meet Lisa Trevor, and it sort of hints that something weird is going on. And at that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm not hating this. Let's give it a chance. It was super good, and then it goes into the late 80s, I guess. Yeah, 1980s, and she's trying to get back to Raccoon City because apparently she's been in contact with someone who's been keeping an eye on Raccoon City. So apparently, like, the virus is in the water. It's been in there for years, uh, and people are only just now beginning to show the symptoms. So, and the reason why the Raccoon City police and all those are not showing it is because they apparently take vitamins that hold off the effects for a while. So I don't know, like, so that's sort of the beginning premise of this. Um, so going into Raccoon City, you obviously have the truck driver. Um, she and him argue, and then he hits a zombie, and there's blood. Zombie disappears. The dog eats some of the blood and the meat, and turns into zombie dog, and then bites the truck's hand. And oh my god, the most ridiculous thing. So in front of the police station, so Leon is just sitting there with headphones on. This is the 80s, noise canceling headphones, and a truck is blowing up right in the front. Like, come on. It was so ridiculous. And then the trucker zombie just walking in, just and then gets taken out by uh, Chief Irons, who is also in the video game. His role's a little different. In this one, it seems like he knows what's going on, but wasn't complicit, I guess. But I mean, that's personal speculation. I mean, there's so much missing from context in this movie that it's hard to tell. Um, whereas in the games, he was very complicit. He was actually, really into the whole umbrella thing and make and yeah, it was yeah. So anyway, that's where you make the stars team. Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Richard Aiken, Brad Vickers, and Albert Wesker. So Wesker, you already know he betrays the team. Um, and they sort of do this weird love triangle between Jill Valentine, Redfield, and Wesker, which was a little weird. I'm glad they didn't dwell upon it that much because it just seemed really weird. I don't know where they were going for it with that. with that. Um, yeah, Leon Kennedy once again. You meet him. He's a rookie. So yeah, rookie cop essentially, and they play him off as the biggest idiot. He gets his freaking gun stolen from him. He apparently shot his partner in the ass in training. It's, oh my gosh, so bad. And he looks like Carlos. He literally looks like Carlos. He does not look like Leon. What in the holy hell were they thinking? So yeah, I hated Leon the whole way through. They they made it so bad. So anyway, they get sent out, the Stars team. So they're going to investigate something at the Spencer Mansion. So again, that's the first game. The second game is the outbreak. So they're doing two things, and it's just like there's so much going on. Like you have the zombies, and they're yeah, a bunch of people just pushing open an iron gate from the in the police department, just slowly gathering. Yes, like I did like the drool. I did think there were some good blood splatters when things finally went down, but there was also some really bad stuff. But yeah, the mansion, it is completely overrun by zombies. Like there's a iconic scene where they're looking and this zombie is eating someone, turns around, looks at them before attacking. And that's direct from the game. That is direct from the game. Yeah, that is perfect. But then, like, this mansion has so many zombies in it. Like, what are all these zombies doing in this mansion? It makes no sense. And then it's tropey as hell. Like, people go off on their own. People are investigating strange noises. It's just like, oh my gosh, you deserve to die. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So Wesker, he's being tasked with stealing Birkin's virus. So Birkin, he is in the game as well. In this one, he actually plays as the owner, operator of the orphanage. It was someone else in the games. I would need to look into it, but yeah. But anyway, he so they're told to leave at the very beginning. He has to catch his research, like but yeah, so essentially Wesker has this PDA that has all the information they'll need. A little later, it comes into play, with a piano thing, which is also taken from the game. Piano opens the library, the library thing. So, and then you have this crazy, like, there's jumps in logic, like I forget who was the one. I think it was Vickers who was flying it. And but anyway, he gets attacked, somehow gets the helicopter airborne, and then flies it into the mansion. And then there's an explosion. There is literally no splash damage in this game. Like, it is ridiculous. I can understand, like, Jill, like, protecting Wesker from the explode, but I mean, again, that thing is feet away from them, and they're fine. It's just like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, it's pretty stupid. There's also another one at the very end where they're at the monster, the end monster from Dr. Birkin, his final form. He empties his clip out on him, and all of a sudden, the one epic moment that Leon has, just like, is that a rocket launcher? I got it in first class. It was so cheesy and terrible, and then blows up. The monster's destroyed, but and the part of the train that it was on, destroyed. But everything else is fine, and it's just like, okay, that happened. That was super weird. The dog scene, that was disappointing. Like, it was supposed, like, when Chief Irons gets to the garage. So this is the dog scene essentially. Uh, he gets out, everything's locked, and then suddenly, it starts flickering. You see the dog, flickers again, dog's gone. And then you hear it, and he's shooting, and it's got to be a 6-shooter because that's how much I counted. He's out of bullets when it's in front of him. I mean, it wasn't scary. Like, it comes out of the window. Like, I didn't even jump. And that's supposed to be a very tense scene. But it is what it is. So, yeah, and then Jill comes before the dog jumps on Irons and beats it to death with a fire hydrant. And then our good old boy Leon comes in, who looks like frickin' Carlos. And it's just like, put the gun down. Clearly she doesn't have a gun. And it's just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so bad. So bad. So let's see. In the mansion, you have Vickers dead from the helicopter and being bitten. Richard, he gets eaten alive after going off on himself. Or going off by himself. Which, why would you do that? So yeah, and then you have the whole prison scene. Leon loses his gun to the person who's helping Claire, and as he's about to get out, like, and that's another thing. It's just like, he knows this guy is turning. He has a gun. Why not shoot him? And then he gets attacked and he dies, and it's just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, the station comes overrun by zombies, and then they escape to an orphanage, where that's where they find, again, Dr. Birkin, and that's where the betrayal of Wesker to the team becomes apparent. So he's just like, I'm not going to let you take my research. And then Whisker shoots him and then gets shot by him. And then his wife takes the package and the gun, gets shot in the head. And then the girl takes it, their little girl, and he can't quite do it. And Jill shoots him. And then that's where he tells them about the underground drain before they go into the virus, or before they explode the city. They find out that they have to leave by 6 a.m. because that's when the city's going to explode, and you don't know what it is. Like there's this explosion beneath the mansion, which causes the mansion to go down, and then there's this explosion beneath the city, and the city goes. It's just like, what? Yeah. So there was a lot of over, just a lot of just over explaining. It was dumb. And then there's this mid-credit scene where Wesker awakens in a body bag. He can't see anything, and then he discovers who hired him, Ada Wong. I don't know how that works out in this weird bastardized universe of Resident Evil, and gives him the sunglasses. And it's just like, all right. So I am not excited. I hope they don't create another one because they butchered this one bad. And I mean bad. So that's my review and all my thoughts for Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. 3 of 10, not great. Would not advise seeing it. So that's me for this. Y'all have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next time. See ya.